Hi, it's Sharon Chen, anchor here at KCTV5. So, we wanted to let you know about a new project that we are launching here at KCTV5. As we kick off the summer months, we know that many of us will want to get out, enjoy the beautiful weather, and maybe do some exploring. Well, there is so much to explore here in the Midwest, some of those points, just a quick jaunt from Kansas City Metro. So, that brings us to this. Destination Heartland. Now, this is a segment that I'll be hosting every Tuesday, and you'll find it right here on KCTV5 Plus. So, with that, we want to get started with our very first destination, a jaunt right down the yellow brick road to Wamego, Kansas. This is just about an hour and a half outside of KC. So joining me now is Corey Reeves. He's the Events and Tourism Coordinator for the Visitors Bureau for Wamego. Hi, Corey.
Hello. We are live from the Oz Museum today, which is, you'd think that you'd roll through Wamego on a casual Tuesday afternoon and it'd be nice and calm in small town middle America. But we've already had visitors come through from multiple states while I was setting up for this interview. So, welcome to Wamego from wherever you are.
That's so awesome, Corey. And the town basically dubs itself small town, big experience, which you just had actually one of the bigger experiences.
Oh, yeah. We just finished up our 4th of July show. So we put on a very unique fireworks display here in Wamego. It's hard to describe exactly what 6 tons of fireworks looks like in a town of about 5,000. And what it has created is an event that brings 50,000 plus spectators to Wamego, which is pretty amazing, actually. So unlike other fireworks shows, our show is shot in the round. So we are able to have seating 360 degrees around it using some of the baseball field complex at the recreation complex here in Wamego. It's an unbelievable show. It's put on entirely by volunteers, and by entirely, I mean it's planned by volunteers. The show is shot by volunteers who've been professionally trained and gone out of their way to get professional certification. All the fundraising is local. There are volunteers everywhere, from the parade to parking cars to shooting off what's an incredible show. And this year, for the first time ever, we were one of 2 locations in the entire country. Using some new software, we combined fireworks shot to music, which a lot of people do, but we added flame effects. So we have like flame pots that shoot fire 30 feet in the air, as well as lighting effects like big spotlights like you see at a huge concert. So it was a really unique experience. The Fort Riley 1st Infantry Division Band was our opening act. So there was no better opening act for that. And it was a packed house in Wamego. I think that over my 14 years now with the show, I think we've literally hit a visitor from every state in the union to come to watch the fireworks here in Wamego. And the whole town just becomes Boomtown, USA on the 4th of July.
Oh, that is so fantastic, so exciting. Now, we briefly touched on this in our introduction, which is, the jaunt down the yellow brick road. That's because Wamego, Kansas is known as the land of Oz, which I see right there behind you.
That's right. The movie's on a loop here in the museum all the time. Just a little advantage of when you come and pay your admission here at the Oz Museum. The Oz Museum is really unique. Early 2000s, the idea was, what can we put in downtown Wamego that's going to continuously bring new people to town? And of course, the Kansas tie with Oz is pretty obvious. So when they started the museum here in 2002, it was mostly a collection of kind of memorabilia items, a lot of posters, a lot of toys and trinkets, and of course things that date back to the original L. Frank Baum book. But over the years, we've added more and more screen-used items to the museum collection. So when you come to Wamego, you will actually see the model of Dorothy's house that got pulled up in the tornado. We have multiple Munchkin costumes that were screen-worn. We've got jackets from the stage production on Broadway. We've got the sconces from the Witch's Castle here. We have the Winky Guard staff. We have muskets from the Emerald City Guards. And there's actually in the building, it is not currently on display, but we have an actual flying monkey model from the movie. So screen used memorabilia from the 30s, and it's really unique to see that kind of thing. I mean, that's an era well before now. Now a lot of that would have been done CGI and things like that, but it's all the original costumes, original props, and mixed in with the storytelling elements of the L. Frank Baum classic. It's a unique experience, and one again that you would not expect to be parked in downtown Wamego, Kansas, and open every day.
Well, and I think that the story of Wizard of Oz is more important now than ever because of Wicked that is in the theaters. But one thing that I think is so interesting too is the story of Oz and its touches around Wamego go beyond the museum itself.
They sure do. So, I mean, the town has really embraced what Oz does. We have probably 50 to 60,000 unique visitors to the Oz Museum every year, which again, towns the size of Wamego would love to have that, right? So it's cool to see all the car tags from all over the United States parked downtown here on Lincoln Street. But we have a yellow brick road, a for real yellow brick road that's built that runs from downtown into City Park, and we have. Let me see, we've got the Totos around town. There's Toto statues that are painted uniquely and placed all over town. We've got an Oz-themed winery. There are Oz-themed restaurants in town. So it's really become a calling card. Oztoberfest, we have a festival every year. So it's a really unique storytelling element. And again, one that just creates a cool, vibrant downtown. The Oz Museum itself has just undergone renovations inside to redo a bunch of the exhibits and the alcoves here inside the museum, and added some new incredible elements and screened use things. And you can't miss the Oz Museum. It is a gigantic green building in the heart of downtown that really looks like part of the Emerald City, and it's become a really amazing piece of Wamego culture we're getting very close to 22, 23 years now for the Oz Museum, which is just incredible.
That is so amazing. And I want to touch a little bit more upon the Totos around town because to us here in Kansas City, that's a lot like our Parade of Hearts.
It's exactly like that, right? I mean, a lot of towns have figured out ways to create an art project that allows unique artwork that kind of matches the places where the statues are in front of. And we did that here, but it's all with Toto dogs. And there are a couple different poses, I guess, if you will, for Toto to be in. But they're uniquely painted. There are 18 of them usually on display. They rotate around a little bit. But there's a patriotic Toto and an Emerald City Toto, and one that's painted with the Dutch mill, and one that looks like the outside of the Oz Museum. And outside the hospital, the Toto's got a stethoscope. He's got swim goggles and towels over by City Pool. So there's Totos all over the place, which has been pretty awesome. It was a totally community-led initiative as well. We fundraised for those. Local businesses sponsored them, and that was a really unique element. That map is the most requested thing at the CVB office, is to watch people come in and ask for the Toto map, and they use it almost like a downtown scavenger hunt, or make their way around downtown as they see the different Totos.
That is so awesome. I love that. The other thing that I found was really interesting is let's talk about the Oz Winery, because this is a winery not only in town, but they've kind of had let's say, a so-called role on Broadway recently, too.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to have our own Oz winery providing wine for some of the Oz-related Broadway productions, whether it's been Wicked or The Wiz or things like that. So they opened the Oz winery as yet again a way to create some more agritourism here. Kansas actually grows great grapes. Way back, there was actually a infection among some of the grapes with insects and things like that in Europe, and grapes from Kansas and Missouri, the vines were taken over there to kind of help preserve that. So you wouldn't think of Kansas having a rich wine culture, but it does. So the establishment of the Oz Winery is like, well, how do we promote Kansas viticulture as you would? And then unique labels are pretty cool. They're a creative bunch over there. So in addition to doing Oz-themed tastings and events, they do an Oz book club, things like that. The labels on the bottles have constantly changed, and they have Oz themes, some sort of Oz tie-in, links to Oz art. So if you needed Squished Witch or a little bit of Dorothy inspiration, or a little Cowardly Lion themed wine for your gatherings, we've got it. And that place is packed every year during Oztoberfest, and has become a unique kind of visitation experience for people locally, as well as anyone who comes in to see the Oz themed things here in Wamego.
I think it was the Drunken Munchin that
Drunken
had
Munchkin,
the,
highly recommended, by the way.
yeah, and that was the one that had the debut for The Wiz on Broadway, correct?
Yeah, which is really cool. That link was just unbelievable. Yet again, that you know, when the winery has been able to do that, when the Oz Museum originally opened, they had some of the original Munchkins from the original film made an appearance. Like, there's been really amazing, not just we didn't just put up a museum and then not have it tie in. The links that go across the country are really pretty awesome. And the Oz Winery, rightfully so, were incredibly proud when they got a chance to put some of their bottles backstage on Broadway to have that unique Oz link back here to Wamego.
How about that? Wamego has so much to offer beyond the Wizard of Oz theme, and we're going to get into more of that after we take a short break. So stay with us. All right, so welcome back to Destination Heartland. We are speaking with Corey Reeves with the Visitors Bureau for Wamego, Kansas. Hi, Corey, again. And we were
Hello,
just
hello.
talking, yeah, we were just talking about Wamego being the land of Oz, and there is so much Oz-related material to get into in the town, which we covered. But there's also a lot outside of the Oz theme too, because we're talking about Wamego, which is a town that has so much history to offer too.
Yeah, Wamego really does. I mean, Wamego popped up originally because it was based along the Oregon Trail, which you can still see the wagon ruts north of town. There's actually some areas that you can go see where the Oregon Trail crossed. Uh, just unique things like that. It was a railroad town, so there's still a railroad car. It was a big rail stop. And then the unbelievable story of the Dutch mill is kind of mind blowing as well. We have an original Dutch style mill in Wamego, which again you wouldn't expect to see in the middle of Kansas, and it was actually originally north of town and moved stone by stone to City Park.
Wow.
So there is a unique tie there. Of course, Potawatomi County is named after the Potawatomi Indian tribe, and Wamego's got a very deep connection there as well to the Native American culture that it was originally in this area and tries to pay tribute to that. So there's a lot of deep history in Wamego. That's maybe probably what you say, maybe the less explored. Like everyone comes to see the Oz Museum, but man, there are a lot of pretty amazing things to do outside history related around town as well.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that history aspect, which you talked about the Dutch windmill. And you sent me some beautiful pictures too of an event that happens around the windmill yearly as well.
Yeah, in every spring, Tulip Festival rolls into City Park right there as part of that. There's a huge, huge tulip field right in front of the Dutch windmill. And that windmill in the 20s was, like I said, disassembled brick by brick, stone by stone, if you will, hand numbered, and then brought from north of town to City Park and reassembled one stone at a time, which is just amazing. It's surrounded by tulips, and every year we have the Tulip Festival, which is a huge arts and crafts fair. This past year, we put over 280 vendors in City Park.
Wow.
So, arts, crafts, food, Kansas wine, Kansas beverages, bouncy houses for the kids, conveniently located next to the area where you're able to pick up those beverages so that you could relax a little while you watch the little ones bounce around. But those vendors come from all over the Midwest as well. So unique art and craft items, and it's a really incredible experience. The photos taken in front of that Dutch windmill is like, it's not just for Tulip Festival. Every graduation picture, wedding photos, everybody's got a picture with that Dutch windmill in the background here in Wamego.
That's great. And then the other aspect, which I found was really interesting, and we talked about the Oregon Trail, but the Oregon Trail itself offers a nature trail that people can get out on.
Yeah, you can get out and actually see, like, see, you can still see the wagon ruts, which is just pretty amazing for those still to be visible. That's located north of town, kind of in the area where Jeffrey Energy Center is. But you can actually go visit that and see that. So you can kind of do a little bit of an Oregon Trail tour, if you will, that you can go see, which is pretty awesome. That Oregon Trail, it's again. You've got there's an original cemetery that you can see.
Wow.
You can see where the ferry crossed the Vermilion River on the trail. So pretty unique things to be able to do. Mount Mitchell is on the other side of town. That's to the south. which Mount Mitchell is also kind of a nature preserve hiking area as well. That's historic that you can visit. So the opportunity to kind of combine recreation and history at the same time, we've got that actually north and south of Wamego.
That is so cool because I mean my list for Wamego is like growing by the minute here. One other thing that I did notice that I thought was really cool is outside of town you can get what's called a bison experience.
Yeah, so that goes right back to the American Indian heritage of Wamego, right, with the Potawatomi tribe and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But there are two separate bison experiences that you can go do outside of Wamego, whether you wanted to go to the Lazy Heart Ranch. They've got a bison experience, as well as the Plumley Buffalo Ranch. They've got a bison experience. So it's a chance for you to get close in a safe manner to the bison, and they tell great stories of when there were huge herds of bison here in the area. So really cool thing to do. I know that that's one of the huge field trips every year for the local school kids. They do that. 4-H Boys and Girls Club. They've all make trips out there. A great family experience as well, or a group experience. I think you can get up to 30 people at a time to be able to go do that. Takes about an hour and a half. But again, a pretty amazing up close visit with some nature outside of town to go see the two different bison ranches.
Oh my gosh. So you've got the Oz aspect, the history
Right.
aspect, Native American, and,
Yep.
just getting out to nature. There is so much to do in Wamego, Kansas, which a lot of us, we didn't even know, which is why we're doing this segment, of course.
Yeah.
Here's a question. When is the best time to visit Wamego, Kansas, would you say?
Oh my gosh, that's going to be tough. So the Oz Museum's open year round, first of all, and it's indoors, so you can do it anytime you want to. The Fourth of July fireworks show is pretty amazing to visit. That has become such an epic and incredible production that to have national recognition for the fireworks show here is pretty amazing. So I put Boomtown USA at the top of the list. Like if you were going to pick one to do thing, like make sure you make that happen. The Oz memorabilia in this museum will blow your mind as far as things related to the movie itself. First weekend in October, Oztoberfest, right? So we put vendors downtown. There's a car show, the costume contests, appearances by authors and special guests and movie historians. They are all here in Wamego for Oztoberfest, and that's the first weekend in October every year. That would probably be a second place. And then after that, pick your season and just come enjoy what is just a beautiful downtown. Like Wamego still has that small town Americana about it, kind of like that Norman Rockwell looking downtown, right? But man, we just punched that thing up to 4K with the Oz Museum and Boomtown and all the things that you can do outside of town. So there's recreation, there's indoor activities, but man, if I had to pick two, it'd be Oztoberfest, probably 4th of July, right? And then that Tulip Festival is pretty enticing too, and that happens in April.
There's truly so much to do there. And that's what we talked about, which was that small town, big experience in Wamego. Gosh, we've touched upon so much. Is there anything else that, we're not getting into about Wamego that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, Wamego's just an interesting kind of destination spot, right? Like, so it's very close to Kansas City. It's not far from Wichita, just a couple hour drive, but just 15 or 20 minutes or so from downtown Manhattan, Kansas as well. So we're kind of surrounded by just so much to do here. So Wamego's kind of like a easy jump from a lot of spots that you would stop to see in Kansas. So it's a chance to kind of maybe, I don't know, capture a little bit of small town Americana and the festivals. But Wamego kind of goes out of its way to say, hey, we don't do things small here, right? Like if we're going to have an Oz theme, we're going to go all in. So it's a museum and a winery and the Totos in downtown. If we're going to put on a fireworks show, we're going all in. And we're going to do 6 tons of fireworks in 30 minutes and go 10 times the size of the town for the people that come to visit. So Wamego, I think, proudly considers it an all-in kind of town. So if there's going to be something going on here, it's going to be maxed out. The culture of volunteerism is amazing. The welcoming aspects of the community are unparalleled. So it's just it's a wonderful place to visit. I think it's an even better place to live, but I'm a little bit biased as a chamber employee. I think that's partially my job. But I tell you, there's never a bad time to come visit Wamego, Kansas, and we'd love to welcome you regardless of when you show up. Just get it on the calendar somehow, I think, and check out visitwamego.com. It's got a pretty lengthy and amazing list of things to do here.
I'm gonna have to put Wamego on the calendar for sure. I do have one question, which I was wondering, since Wicked hit the theaters, and people are learning about Wamego. Have you guys seen a bump in visitorship since Wicked launched in the theaters?
We have. Absolutely, we have. So Wicked brought a whole new audience back to Oz, right? So that's something I remember seeing The Wizard of Oz as a kid, watching it on Thanksgiving, I think, on regular television, right? Like that was just a thing that we did as a family. Wicked has brought a whole new generation into the story. Obviously with Ariana Grande and things like that. So it's young people that are now excited about the Oz story. So for them to be making their way into this museum excited about Oz is super inspiring. During the fireworks show, we added a special segment to feature Wicked. We played Defying Gravity and shot fireworks to Defying Gravity for a section of the fireworks show. It had like green lights and things like that going on, and then pink and blue fireworks. So there's been intentional connection made between Wicked and the original Wizard of Oz. And I think that's going to give the museum and things like this staying power, right? It's an incredible story about overlooking your shortcomings and acceptance for what you don't have and working as a group and things like that. So I think it's still an incredibly valuable story, and bringing more people into it with Wicked, I think is just going to make the museum continue to flourish for a really long time. And it has been super cool to see young people in the museum, even today when I was setting up for this. So people under the age of 10, super excited to see them excited about this story.
I know my little girl has been bugging me about going out there and checking out the Wizard of Oz Museum, so we definitely have to put Wamego on the list. Corey, I truly want to thank you for joining me for this very first episode of Destination Heartland. Thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I tell you, you make it to town, just get a hold of me. You're the VIP tour.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get it all done. Oz Museum, Boomtown, fireworks, whatever you need. We really appreciate the opportunity and would love to welcome you to Wamego.
All right. Thank you so much, Corey. And so the question becomes, where should we explore next? Well, you'll find out next week. Tune in for Destination Heartland on Tuesdays on KCTV 5 Plus. Until then, I'm Sharon Chen.